You check your phone and see a message that nobody replied to. A small feeling appears. Maybe they are busy. Maybe they forgot. But the real answer is far stranger, because a part of your brain still reacts to silence the same way your ancestors reacted to being pushed away from the tribe. And thousands of years ago, that could have been a death sentence. You live in a world of cities, smartphones, passwords, and satellites. Yet deep beneath all of that technology sits a brain that was shaped in a completely different world, a world of campfires, hunting parties, dangerous nights, and small groups of people who depended on each other for survival. Your brain was not designed for modern society. It was designed for tribes. For most of human history, you rarely met more than a few hundred people in your entire life. The average human lived surrounded by familiar faces. Everyone knew everyone. Every relationship mattered. Every conflict mattered. Every alliance mattered. If someone disliked you, it was not merely uncomfortable. It was dangerous. A tribe was more than a social group. It was your protection from predators, your source of food, your support during illness, your defense against rival groups. To lose your place in the tribe could mean losing everything. That ancient reality left fingerprints all over the modern mind. Why does criticism hurt so much? Why do people fear embarrassment? Why does rejection feel physical? Why do strangers online have the power to ruin an entire day? Because your brain still treats social threats as survival threats. One of the researchers who helped reveal this connection was Naomi Eisenberger. In a famous experiment, participants played a simple virtual ball-tossing game. At first they were included, then they were gradually ignored. The surprising result was that being excluded activated some of the same brain regions involved in physical pain. Your brain does not fully separate social pain from physical pain. It never had a reason to. For your ancestors, social exclusion could eventually lead to physical danger anyway. The system evolved to take rejection seriously, very seriously. That is why a rude comment can linger for hours while a compliment disappears in minutes. Your brain is constantly scanning for signs of acceptance or rejection, not because it is broken, because it is ancient. This tribal wiring appears everywhere. Imagine walking into a room where everyone suddenly laughs. They are not laughing at you. You know that logically. Yet for a split second, your attention jumps toward the possibility. Why? Because the social monitoring system inside your brain is always running. It is looking for clues. Am I accepted? Am I respected? Do I belong? These questions once carried enormous survival value. Today they still influence your emotions even when the stakes are dramatically lower. The psychologist Roy Baumeister spent decades studying belongingness. His work suggested that the need to belong is not a luxury or a bonus feature of human life. It is a fundamental psychological requirement. Humans need connection. Not occasionally, constantly. That need was forged during millions of years of evolution. A lone human was vulnerable. A connected human was stronger. The individuals who stayed close to their group survived more often. Over countless generations, natural selection rewarded minds that cared deeply about social bonds. You inherited those minds. Even if you spend most of your day staring at screens. Even if you live alone. Even if you believe you do not need other people. Part of your brain disagrees. Another clue comes from the work of anthropologist Robin Dunbar. Dunbar became famous for studying the relationship between brain size and social group size. His research suggested that humans can maintain roughly 150 meaningful social relationships. The exact number is debated, but the larger idea remains fascinating. Your brain appears optimized for relatively small communities, not millions of followers, not endless feeds, not thousands of digital acquaintances, small groups. Familiar faces, repeated interactions. That creates a strange mismatch between ancient biology and modern technology. Every day your brain encounters more people than your ancestors might have met in months. You scroll past opinions from strangers across the planet. You compare yourself with people you have never spoken to. You experience approval and criticism from individuals who play no role in your actual survival. Yet your brain often reacts as though they do. The tribal system cannot easily tell the difference. This helps explain something else. Why status matters so much. Many people say they do not care what others think. Most people care far more than they realize. Status was never simply about pride. In ancient environments, higher status often meant greater access to resources, stronger alliances, and better opportunities for survival. A respected hunter might receive support during difficult times. A trusted member might gain influence during group decisions. Status had practical consequences. Your brain remembers that, not consciously, emotionally. That is why recognition feels rewarding. That is why public embarrassment feels painful. That is why social comparison can become exhausting. A tribal brain constantly evaluates position within the group. Where do I stand? Am I rising? Am I falling? Am I safe? Modern life provides endless opportunities to ask those questions. Social media turned them into a 24-hour activity. The result is not necessarily happiness. In many cases it is anxiety. Your brain evolved to compare itself with a few dozen people. Now it compares itself with millions. No ancient system was prepared for that. Yet tribal instincts are not all bad. Far from it. Some of humanity's greatest achievements emerged because people learned to cooperate in groups. Humans are not the strongest animals, not the fastest, not the toughest. What made humans extraordinary was cooperation. Groups could share knowledge. Groups could defend territory. Groups could raise children together. Groups could solve problems that no individual could solve alone. The evolutionary psychologist Michael Tomasello has argued that human success depends heavily on shared intentionality. In simple terms, humans became remarkably good at working together toward common goals. You see evidence of that everywhere. Roads, hospitals, universities, space missions. Entire civilizations are built on cooperation between people who will never meet each other. The tribal brain made that possible. At the same time, it created challenges. Humans naturally divide the world into groups, us, and them. This tendency appears early in life. Researchers have repeatedly found that people can develop preferences for their own groups even when those groups are created randomly. The boundaries do not need to be meaningful. The brain often creates meaning anyway. Thousands of years ago, distinguishing friend from foe could provide survival advantages. Today those same instincts sometimes fuel conflict, polarization, and division. The ancient software still runs beneath modern culture. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it causes problems. Often it does both at the same time. Consider gossip. Many people view gossip as a trivial activity. Yet anthropologists have long argued that gossip may have served important social functions. Information about reputation helped groups determine who was trustworthy, who cooperated, who cheated, who contributed. In a small tribe, reputation mattered a lot. Sharing information about behavior could strengthen cooperation and discourage actions that harmed the group. Modern gossip magazines and online drama may look very different, but the underlying curiosity comes from an old place. Your brain cares about social information because social information once affected survival. Even loneliness begins to look different through this lens. Loneliness is often misunderstood. People assume it is simply sadness, but loneliness may function more like hunger, a signal, a message, an alarm. The neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent years studying loneliness and argued that it evolved as a warning system. Just as hunger encourages you to seek food, loneliness encourages you to seek social connection. The feeling is uncomfortable for a reason. It motivates action. It pushes you back toward the group. In the modern world, however, the signal can become confused. You can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. You can receive hundreds of messages and still feel disconnected. Quantity does not automatically satisfy the tribal brain. Quality matters. Trust matters. Belonging matters. That brings us back to the beginning. Why can a simple, unanswered message feel surprisingly important? Because your brain is trying to answer an ancient question. Do I still belong? Most of the time the answer is yes. The other person is busy. The battery died. Life happened. Yet the emotional reaction appears before logic has time to explain the situation. Ancient systems move fast. Modern reasoning arrives later. Understanding this changes the way you see yourself. The fear of rejection becomes less mysterious. The desire for connection becomes less embarrassing. The need for community becomes less optional. These are not personal flaws. They are features of a brain shaped by an environment that lasted far longer than modern civilization has existed. Cities are new. The internet is new. Cars are new. Agriculture itself is relatively new compared with the vast timeline of human evolution. The tribal mind came first, and it is still here. Every time you seek approval, every time you worrying about fitting in, every time you feel proud after recognition, every time you experience the sting of exclusion, you are witnessing ancient survival machinery operating inside a modern world. The remarkable thing is that this machinery helped create everything around you. The same instincts that make rejection hurt also make friendship meaningful. The same need for belonging that creates anxiety also creates love, loyalty, and community. The same tribal brain that worries about acceptance also allowed humans to build civilizations. The story is not about escaping your ancient programming. It is about understanding it. Because once you recognize where these feelings come from, they become easier to interpret. You stop treating every social signal as an emergency. You start noticing the ancient logic beneath modern emotions, and you begin to understand that many of the struggles people experience today are not signs of weakness. They are echoes. Echoes from campfires long extinguished. Echoes from conversations held under unfamiliar stars. Echoes from ancestors who survived because they stayed close to each other. So the next time you check your phone and see a message that nobody replied to, remember what your brain is really doing. It is not reacting to a screen. It is responding to a world that disappeared thousands of years ago. A world where belonging meant survival. And that small feeling that appears is proof that a part of your brain still thinks you are living in a tribe.